Part 1. Breaking Through to a Limitless Life. Why do we get stuck in life? Why do we hit ceilings of limitations and, no matter how hard we try, no matter how many personal development seminars we attend, we can never seem to break through them? And why do we feel such an innate sense of power and potential underneath all our limitations? As poet Gregory Orr put it, if we're not supposed to dance, why all this music? Is there really more to us? An untapped, unlimited capacity that could be unleashed if only we knew how? Or are we just deceiving ourselves into believing that we have more to offer? No, you're not just deceiving yourself. You do have more to offer. You do have amazing gifts, power, and potential that, if unleashed, would astound you and would reveal a whole new world of possibility. The question is, how can you unleash them? And how can you do it in a systematic, predictable way versus just hoping for breakthroughs that come sporadically and unreliably? Chapter 5. The Root Source of Our Self-Imposed Limitations. As a child, Amber loved gymnastics. Her parents enrolled her in gymnastics classes and she loved every minute of them. At home, she was constantly doing cartwheels and other tricks and performing her routines. Her favorite thing to do was the uneven bars, and she would always practice at the park. When she was 8 years old, she decided she wanted to be a gymnast when she grew up. Gushing with excitement, she went to tell her parents about her newly created dream. She thought they would be as excited as she was. It didn't quite turn out that way. As soon as she told them, her dad said, "You won't be able to be a gymnast because you're too tall. You can grow up to play in the WNBA." Her father was a huge sports fan and loved basketball. Since Amber was always taller than her friends, he had high hopes that she would take on his interests. Fighting back tears, Amber smiled and said, "Okay," and walked away completely dejected. She dropped out of gymnastics soon after. Her dream was crushed, and she put it on a shelf. At that moment, she decided that what she wanted didn't matter. She had to make sure everyone else was happy, except for herself. She adopted as a guiding belief, "I cannot speak up for myself and assert what I want." This one belief has had a profound impact on Amber's life. She has made countless decisions that she didn't want because she tried to make everyone else happy first. As a teenager, she started dating a guy who wanted her to drink with him. She had no interest, but she did it because she was afraid he would leave her. She hated drinking every time she did it. This was a common theme throughout her dating life. She said, "I thought I had to be someone else for guys to like me. If they would move away, I would try to figure out what they would want from me, and I would change who I was to give them what I thought they wanted. I had to prove that I had worth, and I had to have that external validation from the men in my life." At the time of writing this, Amber is 27 years old and going through a divorce. She had married her husband because her family and friends loved him and kept telling her she'd be crazy not to marry him. But she didn't love him. When she expressed her hesitancy to get married, people told her things like, "You're overthinking it. You're not getting any younger." She had many opportunities to break it off, but afraid of hurting him and disappointing other people, she caved to the pressure and accepted his proposal. She did her best to make herself fall in love for over 4 years, but it just didn't work. Thankfully, through Limitless breakthrough work, Amber is coming home to her authentic self. She's making decisions based on what is true to herself, not what other people want. She says she's never felt more free and happy. She's also taking her dream off the shelf and getting back into gymnastics. And the crazy thing is that she only turned out to be 5 feet 4 inches. Although her father's prediction was wrong, she allowed it to determine the course of her life. Amber's story perfectly illustrates how we develop our limitations. As children, we all experience traumas. From these emotionally charged traumas, we create beliefs about ourselves, our self-worth, our capabilities, our place in and value to the world. These traumas can be singular major experiences or the accumulation of relatively minor, though influential, experiences. For example, a parent who doesn't abuse you forcefully but repeatedly and subtly shames you and sends the message that you're not measuring up to his or her expectations. Furthermore, the traumas that shape our beliefs don't even have to be real. What creates our beliefs isn't what happens to us, but how we interpret our experiences. It doesn't matter whether our traumas are real or perceived. The mind doesn't distinguish between the two. In other words, we can experience something as damaging to ourselves when, in fact, the damage is all in our heads. As children, we are great observers, but poor interpreters. Imagine a 6-year-old boy who goes to his father and asks him to play with him. His father brushes him off and says he doesn't have time. This could easily be interpreted by the boy as, "I'm not important." But being a child, what he can't see is his father is under a lot of pressure on major projects at work. The boy's interpretation is not true, and yet it creates his beliefs about himself as if it were true. The beliefs we accumulate from our wounds in our childhood determines our paradigms, all our possibilities, all our limitations. Our behavior and results as adults are determined by our perceptions and interpretations as children. Our beliefs dictate our destiny. The sad part of this is that as children, our brains haven't fully developed yet. Think of the vast array of life-determining choices we make before we've even developed the complete ability to think rationally. Abstract thought doesn't develop until mid-adolescence. We have very little emotional intelligence to make sense of life when we make the most important choices that will determine our life's results. This produces adults with major blind spots who can't see why they're struggling in life. Without extensive belief breakthrough work, most of us never see our blind spots. When Delwyn was growing up, every year his family would mark how tall each person was on the doorframe of their laundry room to track how much they had grown throughout the year. He always wanted to be as tall as his dad and his brothers, and year after year he would get closer. One year, he and his younger brother went to get measured. Delwyn went first, and his mark was just a few inches below his dad and older brothers. His younger brother went next and measured taller than Delwyn and very close to the height of their father. Delwyn was stunned and couldn't believe that his brother had outgrown him. He felt utterly disappointed. He remembers thinking at that moment, "I am the runt of the family and will never be as tall as I want to be. I will always fall short." He adopted the belief, "I am not good enough, and no matter how hard I try, I will always fall short and be small." As an adult, this belief came true. He constantly acted small and insignificant around others. No matter how hard he worked and tried hard to climb the corporate ladder, he would continually fall short, which was reflected in his paycheck. His friends had big dreams and experienced big results that to him seemed easy to obtain, while his dreams were small and any big goals seemed out of reach. He fell into debt and remained in debt for years because he couldn't bring himself to think bigger than his income. Anthony was 11 years old when his family, his parents, and 5 siblings went out to breakfast one morning. As they were all looking at the menu, his older brother asked their dad if he could order steak and eggs. After a moment of consideration, their dad agreed. Anthony thought steak and eggs sounded pretty good too, so he asked if he could order some as well. His dad said he didn't have enough money for both of them to have steak and eggs, and since his brother had asked first, he could have them, but Anthony couldn't. From this experience, Anthony decided, "I'm not as important as others. Other people always get to go ahead of me." The belief that arose and determined his life results was, I can never have what I want. As an adult, he's a hard worker and very service-oriented. But, as he admits, his service is not truly altruistic. It's a product of his false belief, which makes him put other people and their needs and desires above his own. His own needs and desires are always his last priority. As a result, he often doesn't get his needs met and feels neglected and frustrated. Terry's dad was in the Air Force, so her family moved a lot as she was growing up. Every time they moved, she lost personal possessions that were important to her. As a result, as an adult, she became a self-admitted hoarder. She clings tightly to things. She keeps them with the intent of doing something wonderful with them, as she puts it, but they usually just get put in storage and are never used. She's always had storage units full of stuff, and every time she and her husband have moved, they've dragged it all with them. Her husband complains often about all her junk and tells her he's never moving it again. She recently was throwing out old magazines when the thought came to her that she was throwing away her dreams, since she has such an emotional attachment to things. This was a big realization for her that revealed why she clings to material possessions so tightly, even when she didn't use them. The point is this: by the time we've reached adulthood, we've already made all the foundational choices that will determine our results. Our fate has been assigned by the beliefs we've incorporated. Our results are locked in. By the age of 20, we already know how successful you're going to be by age 50 or 60, and you're not going to surprise us. The results we experience as adults are entirely predicated upon the beliefs we embrace as children. We continue finding abundant evidence to support our limiting beliefs, thus burying us deeper and deeper into the same results. If you adopted the belief as a child that you're not worthy of financial abundance, as an adult, you'll always struggle financially. If you adopted the belief as a child that you're unlovable, you'll never find true love as an adult, or if you do, you'll sabotage it. If you chose to believe that you are unattractive, you will do whatever it takes to make that belief come true. You'll make yourself as unattractive as possible and never attract someone who finds you beautiful inside and out. If you chose to believe that no one values you, you won't be able to market yourself either in the job market or as an entrepreneur. You'll always have a ceiling on what you can become and accomplish and the amount of money you can make. Your entire life, your behavior, your relationships, your levels of success and fulfillment was measured, staked, and claimed by your childhood choices through experiences of trauma, which determined your beliefs. And most of these beliefs do not serve you. In fact, they cripple you. We make so many limited choices in childhood, and we continue supporting these choices as adults. Even worse, we continue creating more limiting beliefs in adulthood from the patterns we learned in childhood. Our wounded inner child is really at the helm of most of our decisions, causing us to continue making ridiculous and limiting choices throughout our lives. Take a moment and sit with this. How does it feel to consider that you are trapped inside a cell of limiting beliefs, which were created subconsciously at an age when you didn't even understand what you were doing or what the long-term ramifications would be? How does it feel to entertain the idea that you are a prisoner of past interpretations, which were completely distorted and misguided? I'm guessing you feel a bit like Neo in the movie The Matrix when he was told that his entire life was a lie, that everything he thought was real was just an illusion in his mind. You find it unacceptable. You want to reject it. You want to believe that you have free will, that you control your destiny. You, like all human beings, have an innate yearning for freedom. We all balk at the suggestion that our freedom is an illusion. The painful truth is that we are all far less free than we imagine ourselves to be. The reason for this is that our most influential beliefs are deeply embedded in our subconscious mind, so we're not even aware of them. They are like gravity, which we can't see or touch, but we can see the results and physical manifestations of them. No one escapes this. In fact, I believe it is part of a divine plan to give us the opportunity to rise out of our self-imposed limitations. The challenge with these subconscious beliefs is that once we make a choice and take on a belief, we have a default setting of never revisiting the choice. Unless we make a great conscious and consistent effort to unearth and change our beliefs, they are basically set in stone. Not because they can't be changed, but because we typically don't analyze them once they're made. Our inner child gets stuck when our traumas remain unresolved. Our inner child is healed and we become at peace when we revisit and resolve the choices from our childhood that are limiting us as adults. By healing the inner child, we return to a more authentic, natural, peaceful, and contented state. The proof is in your results. If you're resisting the assertion that you're a prisoner of your beliefs, I won't ask you to believe that. What I will ask you to consider is whether or not you are living your ideal life. Are your relationships as connected and fulfilling as you want them to be? Is your career everything you dreamed it would be? Is it bringing out the best in you and making you feel valued, important, and fulfilled? Are you earning as much money as you would like? Are your health and physical condition where you want them to be? Do you live with unstoppable courage and confidence? Do you feel like you draw from a limitless source of strength and power to accomplish anything you set your mind to? If you answer no to any of these questions, you can rest assured that subconscious beliefs are blocking your progress. We can break free. Thankfully, we can change our beliefs to break through our ceilings of limitations. We are not condemned to be constrained by our false beliefs forever. We can go back and identify the choices we made and the beliefs we made as children. We can become more self-aware of the beliefs that are guiding our behavior and results. We can re-navigate our past, reconsider our misguided interpretations and poor choices we made as children, and make new choices and adopt new beliefs that serve us better. We can learn to expand our consciousness and therefore our agency, and to do it on a predictable basis so that we're constantly expanding our possibilities. Remember Delwyn, who as a child adopted the belief, "I'll always fall short," which caused him to act small and insignificant as an adult? After belief breakthrough work, which first helped him identify his limiting belief, he changed his belief to, "I am significant. I play big. I dream big and fulfill many miracles. I live beyond my potential." It wasn't too long after this shift in his beliefs at a Limitless event that Delwyn quit his job as a graphic designer and started his own mentoring business. He has replaced his income and has produced more in 1 month than any other month of his life. He says, "Incredible shifts have happened since choosing into this new belief. I have shown up big around other people, being more warm, kind, and assertive. I set higher goals and have bigger dreams. Miracles are more frequent and abundant. I exercise more and stand taller knowing that I am a unique individual with purpose and power. I am an awesome provider for my wife and kids. I am the master of my finances and I control the flow of money. I present on stage with more power and confidence. I bring more value to those around me because I am willing to play big, and I expect the same from those whom I mentor. Most importantly, I feel like I have control of my life. I'm able to choose what I want to spend my time doing. I have much more freedom and power." Anthony, who as a child chose the belief, "I can never have what I want," has always felt neglected and hasn't known how to get what he wants. After changing his belief to, "I am important and resourceful. A way is always provided to accomplish all of my desires," his life has completely transformed. He says, "I feel so much more grounded, peaceful, and powerful. I am able to step up for myself and create what I want. In situations in the past where I would have held back, I am now comfortable putting myself out there. It's actually been shocking to me how assertive I can be in public settings now. The biggest transformation for me is in my relationship with my wife and family. Before belief breakthrough work, I had a tendency to withdraw and even stonewall when my needs weren't getting met. It caused conflict in our marriage and kept me from getting what I wanted. Now, I'm much more confident in expressing myself and asserting my desires. I can talk openly and honestly with my wife. It's made a huge difference in our relationship and the peace in our home." Terry, who became a hoarder as an adult because of her childhood experiences of moving around a lot, used belief breakthrough work to release her attachments to stuff. Interestingly, she started losing weight rapidly in conjunction with her belief breakthrough work. She said both her stuff and her weight had provided a sense of comfort to her, but were actually very limiting. Now, the stuff and the weight are both leaving her life as she changes her beliefs. She says, "I feel happier, lighter, more free. I have made several runs to my local thrift store to drop off truckloads of stuff. Every time, I have driven away happy. Releasing myself from the commitment to my stuff has also freed me to live my true purpose. I'm stepping into my purpose as a healer and helping other people experience the same breakthroughs I have. I have a lot more confidence now. I stand tall and I'm much more balanced because I'm more aligned with my purpose rather than being distracted by all the stuff." Belief breakthrough work is about uncovering and revisiting all our limiting beliefs to question their continued validity. Most of our limiting beliefs have hit their expiration date and need a serious upgrade.